Hi and welcome. I'm Wendy LeBlanc-Arbuckle and I'm the Director of Education for the Pilates Center of Austin, and I'm joined by Marcos Apodaca,
Hello.
our senior teacher. And we're here today to share with you our excitement about playing with the SANDBELLS, with these wonderful sand-filled discs that we find are such a contribution to really any discipline, but the idea is to show how we're going to show with some Pilates mat work in just a moment to show how we play with that weight transfer. But you'll notice how Marcos is playing with the discs, the larger discs in the sand, and how that's waking up the portals of his feet. We're looking at what's the difference between coming from core control, where we're over-stabilizing through the abdominals or through the shoulder. And notice that Marcos is playing with what we're calling core coordination. How do we have a natural awareness of force transfer through the shoulder girdle and the pelvic girdle, through the breathing spine, to hands and feet? So my arm glides on the shoulder, on the scapula, and how that is connected through my melting ribs to the way the shoulder blade to deep belly functions, how the legs and arms root. It's very, very fluid. It's working with the fluids of the body. How does biotensegrity, the way that our body it functions in a tension-compression relationship, in a continuity, how are the abdominals in relationship with the way that force transfer happens from lower body to upper body? So this is a very different way than looking at the abdominals as a place of concentration. And you'll see that, what are you feeling in your body, Marcos, as you're kind of playing with the weight transfer?
Well, first is I'm using the sandbags to really open up my feet. I can feel all areas of my foot, so that automatically gives me whole body balance. Mm-hmm. So as I play with rotation, I can right away feel easy weight transfer. Just the sandbag really cue how I can just play with being in the whole foot no matter where I am. Mm-hmm. And then this one, the one in my hand, helps me find just reaching, not overreaching, right, but just kind of like let it sit in my hand as I go through a whole spinal movement without being a big overextension.
And the other thing that's really great, I want you to see right here, and you'll see it's important in the mat work, is rather than overworking the shoulder, how does your elbow and your knee function as a transition place? So upper arm is rooting to the spine. Lower arm is our relationship to the environment. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the leg.
Yeah.
Lower leg is connection to earth and environment. Upper leg functions as a root to ourselves. It's very, very powerful to get that distinction.
Feels great.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So the importance of squats, but not squat just as a thing, but rather a relational way of feeling, what we call down the back, up the front, and how we're going to take that into some Pilates on the wall. And you'll see how we'll play with the SANDBELLS there. So, be back in a second. Hi, so notice that we began with Marcos really sensing the tactile stimulation through the receptors of his feet, and how that enabled him to feel more and more. There's a difference in having a weight than having the SANDBELL gives that feedback. It gives wonderful tactile feedback. Why don't you say a little something about what you're noticing?
So using the SANDBELLS in my hands as I press up, it really allows me to sense my arms releasing down into the mat, helping my shoulders stay wide and my chest really stay relaxed. Because normally I can be, as you can tell, very gripped in my chest, but I can keep a width. So if I went into a bridge, and here's the feet with the wall. That helps me lengthen my neck and feel my head long out of my tailbone. And the weight should just really inform my whole body.
Mm-hmm. So notice the relational distance, how he's feeling more core coordination. That wasn't a hardening through the center. That was a force transfer where you're shifting the load of your body. And now you're playing with, the other thing about the sandbells is they really afford an internal, external helix of the hand. They really have you, enable you to feel the whole shoulder rather than just part of the muscular control of your shoulder. You just sense how you can get the entire fascial matrix of your shoulder to the rest of your body.
Yeah, because I'm not, like a normal weight, I would hold it, hard. Here I can let this rest and cup in my hand, and that is nice because I have, like you said, there's more of a freedom in how I can move through my wrists and my whole body and play.
And move through the whole matrix of his arms relationship through his torso to his foot. So it's an incredible feeling that you really have to allow your body to sense. You see how he's inviting his body to move, how it's just, the sandbell is encouraging a more spiralic movement. Yeah. And then from there, doesn't it feel yummy?
Feels good, yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So now let's go into just a sense of coming up into hundreds.
Yeah.
We're using the tactile feedback of the wall so you can see how the wall enables his body, which is a more dense body, to really sense his backing. How do you get the feeling of down the back? How do you have that feeling of connection, contact through the earth, which then allows internal lift to happen much more easily, with more ease. Right. Yeah. And what would it feel like to have one foot on and have one knee bend? That you're playing with that feeling once again of spiral. Playing with how does it become more of a spiralic movement? These are just variations on the theme. And then how to, from there, right. Good. And from there, coming down, and I'll show what we were playing with the setup for leg circles.
Okay.
So we're always looking at how does the back of the leg connect to the front of the spine. So we're playing with that sense of what's the weight. See how that by not overbending his knee, you got this feeling from the back of the leg to the front of the spine. You see how your head just naturally oriented.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this feeling of alignment becomes something other than doing it the right way. It really becomes a feeling of how is my whole foot, the tactile receptors in my feet, talking to the way my body extends from center, from my head through my foot. Yeah. Right. And you're just playing with that feeling of now he's got root. His leg is rooted through his hip, pelvic girdle into his spine. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And go the other way. Yeah. And then bend your knees, come back in. Felt good, huh?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And then roll it.
So play with that idea. See which one of these feels better for your one leg roll up. It's another piece he's playing with is how do you sense the feeling of the back of the leg to the front of the spine, which is our more natural way of moving. That's how we actually form, our bodies form in the womb. And that feeling of folding, how does that internal support happen as you reach through your whole foot? How do you get lift from inner ankle, inner thigh, internal belly to the inner ear? So this is another way of using weight to create reach and lift. More powerful than a TheraBand, because it really gives you that feeling of ground and reach. Beautiful. Stay up. Now let's look at spine stretch. You're staying there. Now, how does that feeling of lift, internal, and when you're ready, you exhale and just dive over, over, over. How does the dive happen as he's sensing the release down the back? Waterfall down the back gives lift up the front. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, feeling the release with reach. Yes. Good. And then stay up and let's go to saw. So from here, feel the arms spiral. There's a reach through and away, and then come back to come up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. You can see there's a really nice spiral that he's finding through the portal of his hand, how the sandbell is giving him a responsive way of sensing the movement. It's very different than doing the movement. Wouldn't you say that, Marcos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, using the sandbells, I get a relationship right through my shoulder girdle, and there's a nice width that just allows to happen as I reach.
Yeah.
Gives me direction.
Yeah, you can see the directions happening, internal, external. Yeah, beautiful. Come up. Let's go to swan. So here, of course, the thing you're looking for is, are you able to relax through the ASIS, let your pelvis relax on the mat, so then your low belly suspenders can come alive. You can feel lift here. If you're in your back, this is the big awareness for swan. If you're in your back, then you don't have enough support through the front. You need some kind of support here that allows lift to happen with reach. So now he's playing with that feeling of how do the sandbells through his hands give him more waterfall down to create more lift, right? Yeah. Reaching through. Beautiful. Yeah. Right. Yes. That's it. Feel how each time it just gets deeper.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the thing. You see, when you got that sensory awareness, you're talking to your biointelligence. You're talking to your body's biotensegrity, which is that tensional compression relationship. It's a continuity through your whole body that your body knows. It knows how to connect. It knows how to organize itself. And are you giving it the time? Are you giving it the support to create that deep whole body awareness? Beautiful, Marcos. And then come up, turn around. So now we'll go back to the wall, and so many people have difficulty with inversion, but what we're going to do is show you how to cultivate that feeling of, right, you can see whether you want the red ones or whether, so these are the, which weight is going to give you. You're always looking for how much, what's just enough that feels like, ooh, when I reach here. So he's playing with the feeling of bridge, except he's very close to the wall. So how does the down through his hands, through his upper core, through his original bridge, how does that begin to create internal lift? How does the feeling of waterfall from your hands through to your shoulder blade, through to your spine, how does that reach into the wall to create the internal lift and allow you to feel the shoulder blade to deep belly, the backing, back open, so your belly wall can fall back. Right. And how do your legs get rooted to your spine? How does your head feel free? So it's all in that richness of how the sandbell stimulates the body's deep wisdom.
I'm trying to yell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you notice changing from one to the other?
That's, I mean, the red ones were helpful to feel my hands heavy, but this really even speaks more to the whole arm. And I can sense that the whole arm now, there you go, helps my neck release, my mid-back soften.
So now you've got more backing.
Mm-hmm.
See, now he's got more width across his back.
Yeah.
So that's why you change. You test things and see, what does this feel like? What does this feel like? It's like putting ankle weights on. What does it feel like to give a little more weight? So how does your leg get free from that feeling of internal support? This is the feeling you want to have in short spine on the reformer. You want to have the feeling that your leg can be free because your sit bone to heel, your shoulder blade to belly is so supported from upper core grounding. How does your lower body move because your upper body is so supporting? Beautiful, Marcos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah. Wonderful. It was great to be with you. And just remember, huge distinction of how are you talking? What is the conversation that you're having with your body? How is body wisdom guiding us? And that's really the power of Pilates and yoga. That's the internal message, is how do we learn to be guided by our body wisdom? And that's the key. So thank you. Great to be with you. Got to try SANDBELLS. They are a true gift. You'll love them. See you soon.